Title: The Wisdom of George Soros, A Roadmap to Success and Resilience. Chapter 1: From the Streets of Hungary to the Global Stage. George Soros grew up in a modest Jewish family in Budapest during the rise of fascism. The years that followed, beyond the walls of the Iron Curtain, shaped his determination to rise above adversity. One of the first battles he faced was the German occupation of Hungary in 1944. When he was forced into the ghetto, Soros refused to surrender his future. He smuggled a small set of books to the underground and began learning English and German, teaching himself to write and to think beyond the confines of his immediate surroundings. In 1956, after the Soviet suppression of the Hungarian Revolution, Soros fled to Vienna, then London, and eventually settled in the United States. He began earning money in a very modest way, selling his skills as a chess player for cash in exchange for tea, before attending Columbia University on a scholarship that required him to pass a series of exams. There he earned a degree in economics and discovered the power of questioning assumptions. The pinnacle of his career came in 1992 during the infamous Black Wednesday. He famously bet against the British pound and made a profit of $1.3 billion. Yet, Soros did not merely use the capital for personal enrichment. He invested it in causes that he believed would improve society. He founded the Open Society Foundations, a global philanthropic organization that supports democracy, education, and human rights. What is the common thread running through these events? It is the fearless willingness to look past immediate comforts and to invest in opportunities that may pay off decades later. His famous quote, "I don't know how to be right. I don't think I have to be right. What I am doing is to test my assumptions," reminds us that certainty is a luxury we often overestimate. To apply Soros's teaching today, start by identifying the assumptions you hold about your own limitations. Write them down. Choose one that feels limiting, perhaps the belief that you cannot launch a business because you lack capital, and challenge it with incremental experiments. Open a savings account, save a small percentage of your first paycheck. Use that money to learn programming or marketing, test a minimal product. Key takeaways: adversity can be a catalyst. Questioning assumptions fuels progress. Small, consistent experiments build toward large change. If you are enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring journeys. Reflective question: what limiting assumption in your life can you turn into an experiment today, in the same spirit that Soros turned adversity into opportunity? Chapter 2: The Open Society Blueprint, 5 Pillars of Soros's Thought. Soros articulated and practiced a set of ideas that can be distilled into 5 core principles, each a pillar of his philosophy. 1. Reflexivity, the belief that the market, society, and even personal thought are self-reinforcing. The more people think and act in a particular way, the more that belief shapes reality. 2. Open society, a commitment that societies flourish when they allow debate, tolerance, and the rule of law. 3. Risk management, understanding that every action has downside, and that diversifying risk is a virtue as much as an asset. 4. Continuous learning, a philosophy that one never knows everything, and that humility opens doors to growth. 5. Philanthropy as investment, the conviction that giving back is not a cost, but an investment in human potential. A narrative that illustrates these pillars is Soros's battle with the United Kingdom in 1992. He used the principle of reflexivity to foresee a mispricing of the pound. At the same time, he diversified his bets across different markets to manage risk. He was open to the possibility that he could be wrong, and he embraced the loss if it were to happen. Soros once remarked, "Success is an ever-moving target. It is only a series of goals that a person pursues." This captures his relentless approach to continuous learning. He never stopped questioning, never stopped being fascinated by new information, and never grew complacent. Concrete ways to apply these principles in your daily life. Reflexivity. Keep a journal where you note how changing your mindset shifts your outcomes. When you confront a challenge, ask yourself if the problem is in the external world or your perception of it. Open society. Engage in respectful dialogue with people you disagree with. Attend town halls, debate forums, or simply ask a neighbor about their perspective on civic issues. Risk management. Whenever you consider a new project, list potential pitfalls and how you could mitigate them. Create a safety net of savings or diversified skills to cushion surprises. Continuous learning. Set a learning goal each month, read one book, attend a webinar, or learn a new software tool. Philanthropy. Dedicate 1–2% of your earnings to causes you care about or volunteer a few hours each month in your community. Key takeaways. Think your assumptions can shape reality, support open debate, manage risk by diversification, embrace learning as a lifelong quest, view giving back as a strategic investment. If you are enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring journeys. Reflective question. In what ways can you intentionally shift one of these 5 principles to transform your current habits or mindset? Chapter 3. From hedge funds to humanitarian funds, Soros in action. Soros's most famous anecdote involves his short sale of the British pound, but his actions go beyond that singular event. After selling the hedge fund industry, he turned his fortune into a vehicle for his convictions about the open society. In 1992, the same year as Black Wednesday, Soros founded the Open Society Foundations. Over the following decades, he poured billions into democracy, judicial reform, and education in countries across Europe, Central America, and Africa. He helped fund independent media, launched campaigns for drug policy reform, and ensured the protection of human rights for transgender people. He also invested in academia through the Soros Fellowship for New Americans, which supports immigrant scholars, and in economic research through the Institute for Studies in Economics and Development. A story that epitomizes his approach is his decision to back the People's Republic of Kosovo. Soros's foundation backed NGOs that organized the return of refugees and invested in schooling for children growing up in conflict zones. Even when the political climate was hostile, he persisted. Motivational insight. Soros's life shows that wealth is a means to amplify change, not a goal in itself. The ability to decide where to allocate resources, money, time, or expertise determines the impact you achieve. Concrete steps to mirror this in modern life. Identify a cause that resonates with your values. Create a micro-philanthropy strategy. Allocate a small percentage of your income to this cause or volunteer a set number of hours each week. Build networks that connect you to like-minded changemakers. Use your skills, whether coding, marketing, or design, to support organizations that align with your causes. Periodically assess the impact of your contributions, just as Soros would review his portfolio for alignment with goals. Key takeaways: wealth is a tool. Philanthropy is an investment in transformation. Continuous alignment of resources with values amplifies impact. If you are enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring journeys. Reflective question: which cause could you support today, not for recognition, but to align your actions with a larger purpose, as Soros aligned his wealth with the open society? Chapter 4. Turning Soros's wisdom into your everyday toolkit. The lessons above can be transformed into actionable habits for the modern professional. 1. Adopt a reflexive mindset. Each time you face a decision, ask, how would my belief about this shape the outcome? Write at least one sentence for each decision. 2. Practice open inquiry. Start a weekly debate with a colleague where you each pick a topic no one in the group feels comfortable discussing openly and present a respectful viewpoint. 3. Implement risk-diversified experiments. If you are running a small business, create 3 parallel projects whose risks do not overlap, measure, and iterate. 4. Set a learning quota. Choose 3 subjects outside your core expertise and spend 2 hours a week immersing yourself in them, reading articles, taking an online course, or speaking with experts. 5. Engage in micro-philanthropy weekly. Contribute a small sum to a cause or volunteer a manageable duration. To tie it together, imagine an entrepreneur who wants to launch a sustainable fashion brand. Using reflexivity, they notice that the trend toward fast fashion is tied to a cultural assumption of waste being acceptable. They decide to counter that assumption by emphasizing the value of durability. Risk management comes in when they initially test the idea on a small batch in a local market before scaling. Continuous learning is maintained by researching new materials and consumer behavior. Philanthropy is practiced by partnering with a community that helps repurpose old clothing. Key takeaways: the principles are not abstract. They can be embedded into daily routines, career choices, and personal growth journeys. If you are enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring journeys. Reflective question: how will you structure your next week to embed at least one of Soros's 5 principles into a tangible action? Chapter 5: Your Spark, Your Path, Closing the Circle. From a boy in war-torn Hungary to a global philanthropist, George Soros exemplifies the power of relentless questioning, disciplined risk management, and a deep commitment to an open, inclusive society. His life teaches us that the pursuit of knowledge and the courage to act on that knowledge can create ripples far beyond personal gain. The core messages you should walk away with are: challenge assumptions as a daily practice. Let curiosity replace certainty. Embrace risk and diversify in both business and ideas. Understand that failure is a step toward mastery. Prioritize continuous learning. Stay a student of the world in every era you live in. Invest in people, not just profits. View philanthropy as a strategic partnership for societal progress. Build an open society. Participate in honest dialogues that broaden perspective, whether in your workplace or in your community. For those looking to translate Soros's wisdom into action, the next practical step is simple. Choose a single pillar to focus on this coming month and set measurable goals. If you are enjoying this, like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring journeys that bring timeless wisdom to everyday life. Final reflective question: in what new way can you use your time, resources, or talents today to create a ripple effect, an open society building in your own sphere, following the example of George Soros?